All right, guys, we have another NASM exam pass. I am excited to introduce and welcome Laura. Laura, thank you so much for joining us on this quick interview.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So, Laura, congratulations. You recently passed your NASM exam. There's a lot of students in here that are studying. And I know you mentioned you've seen some of these interviews before that I've done.
Yes.
So my goal is to get some good information out of you to help these folks that are still in the process of studying. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So let's start with tip number one. If you're one of these folks that are still studying for their certification exam, what's the first tip that you have for them?
To study on a healthy schedule, to avoid burnout or last minute cramming, because I did both. So I kind of learned from my own mistakes there. So
okay. When you say study on a healthy schedule, what does that look like? Specifically, what did it look like for you?
So I'm a stay-at-home mom, but I homeschool. So we're also fixing up a house and travel on a lot of weekends. So we're just really busy. My husband works on the railroad and I get to go with him a lot. And then I also am a traveling musician. So I do concerts and stuff like that. So we're a very busy family. So it's, for me, a healthy schedule was, I didn't have the textbook for about 2 months. I thought that was normal. So I had to call NASM and get my textbook. So I wasn't getting a lot of, so I actually used BDU a lot in the beginning of my studies because I didn't have my textbook and I didn't have service traveling a lot of times. So for me, a healthy schedule was, making sure I get at least a lesson or two in every day. Sometimes I do 2 lessons, but by the weekends, I like to recap what I've been working on all the week. Instead of learning new material constantly, I liked to kind of like slow down on the weekends and look back at what I was, reading and watching. And honestly, I am a visual learner too. So I confess I went on YouTube and watched children's videos to understand some of this anatomy and physiology stuff.
Okay, cool.
So if I can't teach it, I don't understand it. And that's how I am. I feel like I cannot move on until I understand it to the point where I could explain it to somebody else. So
that's perfect. So specifically about that schedule, let me ask you, on average, on a weekly basis, just on average, how much time did you study?
I would say probably, being realistic, probably 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours a day.
Whoa.
But there were some heavy schedule days towards the end though, where I had to cram because I had missed a couple of months in my schedule to kind of catch up. I had to play catch up. So yeah, that's why I definitely suggest having some kind of, and I couldn't keep up with NASM's recommended schedule. I would get emails saying, okay, you should be on this chapter, but I was like 5 chapters behind that. I just couldn't keep up with them. So it wasn't realistic for me.
Okay. Yeah. And that's cool. So what you're saying from a healthy standpoint, you're talking about based on your schedule too, just to make it work. Okay.
Which I don't, when I say don't burn yourself out, I did that too by just constantly, I got brain hurt, from reading too much and I just had to take a break from it. So I feel like anything more than that, I was really stretching myself. So about 3 hours tops for me. Okay.
All right. But in an average week, how many days of the week would you study?
All 5.
Okay. 5 days.
And then I Quizlet on weekends, like recap stuff. So.
Okay. All right. Really cool. Now, before taking your, getting your certification, had you any previous formal education, exercise science or advanced nutrition?
No, not at all.
Okay. So you came to the table with no background in exercise science.
I have a GED, high school diploma. So.
All right. All right. So for everyone out there to like, oh, I don't have this background. Neither did Laura here. Okay, perfect. And all right, let's move on to tip number 2.
Okay. That would be take notes and key concepts in fun ways. Now this is mostly for my girlfriends because I don't know how much fun you guys have, but this is like an example of like my notes. I like to color coordinate things so that I can find them in my own notes really fast. And if I had to draw something, I draw it, I'd label it.
Wait. Let's take a look at that one again. That was pretty good. Okay. Awesome. Wow. That's Doug level drawing right there.
I don't know
Really
about
cool.
that. I saw Doug's drawings.
He does pretty good. Okay. So rewrite the key concepts.
Yes.
Take the notes. Anything else within tip number 2 there?
That's most of it for me, because that helped
Okay.
me find my own, actually, like misspelling words or writing them down wrong and having to scribble them out. I even remembered the pages that I wrote based on those silly little things that I would do. You know what I'm saying? Like just write it and recite it. But highlighting is almost like writing it twice. So I would just like trace everything.
Okay, perfect. And see, a lot of people think that just reading the textbook, and I know Doug goes over this really well at the beginning to explain this to everyone, but reading the textbook and just watching the videos is not studying. Combining it with what you're doing there with rewriting the key concepts is really a part of it. So, okay, let's move on to tip number 3.
Okay, utilize all the help that you can get. So I had to like drop all my social media pretty well. So it like became my life. Like I eat, breathe, and live, like dream about what I'm studying about. I don't know if that's just an obsession or what, but I'm really passionate about this information. So for me, if I'm not interested in a topic, I have a hard time grasping it. But if I'm passionate about it, I absorb it really well. So for me personally, I had to drop social media completely. Like just maybe scroll every once in a while or answer messages. But for the most part, I switched to anatomy apps that I could find free, KinHub, Quizlet, and especially BDU's Quizlets were very on track with my practice exams and stuff like that. NASM Edge flashcards as well. So.
Okay, awesome. So what I heard there also was focus, eliminate distractions. Right. So just get in the groove. We say this all the time. If you have a habit of YouTube, Netflix, whatever it is, while you're studying for your NASM, your ACE or whatever certification, just put it to the side so you could focus 100% on the study. And that's what you did?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, I sure did.
All right. Awesome. Now, tell us, one, we appreciate you being a Body Design University student. How did that help you and your call with Doug, or just the program overall?
Overall, well, it's something I could bring with me all the time. And even when I was like on the treadmill or doing whatever, I was listening to podcasts and I'm, or you guys just kind of reiteration and obviously Doug's awesome drawings and stuff like that. But Quizlet helped me, I think, the most, even if I was just sitting and watching and just being a part of the group as well. I was kind of a fly on the wall, just kind of like reading other people's questions, reading all the answers and responses and kind of absorbing all of that, learning from other people's mistakes. I was getting, like it can be discouraging when you're part of the group and you say, oh, I flunked, or I flunked, oh, I passed. And all these people have such big, like different backgrounds. And it's like, well, where am I going to fall into all of this? Because I have a GED, I didn't go to college. I'm a homeschool mom, So, but yes, but BDU helped me a lot. So,
okay. And let me ask you about the format, the straight format of BDU and like the practice exams, that whole process, starting at the top, working your way down. Did that streamline it for you or simplify the study at all?
It did. It helped me a lot because, like I said, reiteration is key for me. So I'd read the textbook and then I'd listen to the audio if I couldn't read the textbook. And then I'd watch the video lesson. And then if I didn't understand anything still, I would either rewatch the video lesson or I'd go back to my text, or I'd go to Crash Course on YouTube or something and have to see a visual of this. And then I'd write it and I'd highlight it and I'd spend the rest of that evening really trying to understand just what I learned that day. And before I moved on, I'm the type person, I cannot move past something. That's kind of like OCD, I guess,
until you know it. Yeah.
So,
well, that's awesome. How are the practice exams in comparison to NASM, the BDU practice exams?
Very similar. NASM Edge actually was too easy for me. I felt like it was a little bit, I didn't see any questions quite like that on the test. BDU was very similar to the test. So I progressively got better as I took your quizzes. By the time I took the last quiz, I had like a 95 on it. And I thought, okay, I think I'm ready to understand that I have to critically think about these questions and answer based on a real life scenario. And if you can do that, then it doesn't matter how they word the questions, you're gonna ace it. So
Awesome. Okay. Last words for everyone that's in this group. They're either, they're limited on time, or maybe they even get like, some people get like this test anxiety or whatever, however they're feeling. What recommendations, what words of encouragement may you have for these folks that are in the group that are either getting ready to study or currently studying for their certification?
I would just say, like I did before, just focus. I skipped 2 months out of the 6 that I had because I had just kind of life happened. And at the last minute, I almost rescheduled my exam because I just felt like there's just no way I'm going to be able to have time to, I hadn't finished 2 chapters. I had 2 chapters left and 2 weeks to go. I'm like, how am I going to be ready for this? But my husband kept encouraging me because he's like, look, this stuff, this stuff. So I don't know. I just say, you're ready when you feel like you can explain some of these things, these concepts, but don't sell yourself short, because that's what I kept doing. And I walked in there, it's like, I'm just going to do it. If I have to take it again, I have to take it again. So, and, I passed, and I felt really encouraged by that. Moving on to corrective exercise now, which is really highlighting chapters 12 and 13, just diving into those chapters pretty well. But yeah, if I can do it in 4 months with a GED education and full-time mom, and I'm homeschooling and I'm grading papers, and then you can do it too.
Yeah, Laura, thank you so much. I want to say one thing before we go. The things that you're sharing in regards to really wanting to know the material, those are signs of a great trainer. Just by the way, I've been doing this for a long time. When you want to learn it at the level that you share, that means that when you're standing in front of a client and they ask you a question, that you want to know the answer. You want to be able to coach them properly. So kudos to you to not just taking the certification to learn to pass and just memorize, but having the desire to actually understand what you're learning. Okay. And to go on. So look, however you plan to use it, we wish you the absolute best. Thank you so much. Congrats again. Go out there and help as many people as you can.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You got to see you, Laura.